friends, my name is Candy of Handmade by Candy, and I normally record knitting and crochet podcasts, but I'm here today with something a little bit different. I recently attended a knitting retreat, and I thought I would share my experience with that and what was in the goodie bag, what I bought, and just have it be its own separate thing from my podcast in case anybody wants to in the future consider attending a retreat that's like this, or this specific one, as it is an annual retreat. It's been going on for many years before this year, and it does not look like it's going anywhere anytime soon. So with that being said, I'm going to talk about winter woolly, hashtag retreat yourself. This is not the first year I've attended, but it is the first time I've attended in many years. I attended virtually in 2021 and in person in 2019 and 2020, but it's been going on even longer than that, guys. So this year was the first year or maybe the second year. I'm not 100% sure since I didn't attend last year. I may or may not have 100% of the details right, but this year, for sure, you could register for the retreat and choose not to take any classes to kind of help offset costs of the retreat and things like that for the people attending. You also could choose to get the catering package or not get the catering package. And I'm gonna go ahead, and because there are different factors at play here, I'm going to tell everybody here on this video what I chose to do, how that worked out financially and what the cost was financially for me for this retreat. So that way, you know, full disclosure going in. Each year it does vary, the costs change, inflation, right? But this year for 2025, the base registration was $110. That got you access to the retreat space, the event space, and shopping Friday night, all day Saturday, except for during class times, but we'll get into that. And then Sunday until noon. So that got you kind of just access to the general thing. It also got you your goodie bag, and everything like that. So I did not do the catering package this year. It was just something I felt like I could save some money on by packing some food myself. I also did not stay until Sunday. I knew that going in. My husband is on nights, and that meant for me to go in the first place, someone had to keep our kiddos, and I felt guilty asking for the entire weekend. So I came home late Saturday night. So I knew I wasn't gonna get the breakfast part on Sunday, and that way I could just, like I said, save a little bit of money since it was just for me and just a little getaway. I packed a TV dinner, ironically, for Friday night after I got there. And I ate that quickly in my room before joining the festivities. And then I also packed myself a quick breakfast freezer meal. And then I made myself up a salad and a sandwich for lunch. And then I chose to get dinner out. Way cheaper than the catering package. However, I will say that I will seriously consider the catering package next year just because the food looked delicious of what I saw anyway. And there was lots of options. They took into account a lot of like food sensitivities and allergies, and there was some vegetarians that were there, and they had options for them as well that were no extra cost to those people for something special for them. But yeah, so I did not do the catering package. I want to say it was like $100, maybe a little bit more than that. Again, I did not select it this year. So, but that is one way you can choose to save money, is to pack your own food and snacks. And then you can eat out if you want to, or you've got food. But that's the registration part of things. And then you could choose classes. Now you got a handy dandy little packet here in your goodie bag. I went ahead and have it out because I want to be able to share information, and I forgot about that goodie. So Friday night, you could check in, pick up your goodies, settle into your room, and then come back down when you're ready to hang out with everybody. They served dinner, and then at 7 o'clock, we all did a welcome craft, which I'll share because that's in my goodie bag, and I don't want to lose momentum here. And then on Saturday, you had time to get breakfast. If you had chosen the catering package, you had a voucher to get breakfast at the restaurant that was on site. This was, you could say where this was. This was in Brown County or Nashville, Indiana at the Brown County Inn. Sorry. This is my first time doing a video like this, so I'm kind of a little bit all over the place, and I apologize for that in advance. Your first set of classes that you could take on Saturday were Crochet 101, Darn It, learning different, like a method of darning, Perfect Fit, which was a class that kind of where the instructor kind of helped you understand what ease was, how shaping works and things like that. And it wasn't like there wasn't a pattern involved, but you kind of got like a in-depth perspective on kind of how to view sweater patterns and what size you should make for your body. And then last but not least, Brioche. That was the class I took. So you know what? I'm just gonna go ahead and get into my goodie bag because that's where my class materials are. So first off, let me see. Do I not have my? I don't have my welcome craft. We made these cute little wind chimes. I think it's in my suitcase, which I have not unpacked yet. So I will insert a picture of that here so that way everybody can see my wind chime. I think I skipped a couple steps of the instructions. That's on me, not on the kit or whatever, but it was a fun little extra. Anyways, I took Brioche. So for my Brioche class, I got 2 skeins of DK weight yarn, and I opted to bring my own knitting needles. That's another way you can save money is you can, when you're signing up for the classes, you can opt to bring your own needles, which lowers the class cost, or ask that they be supplied for you, which increases the class cost. So again, minimizing costs. I have tons of needles. I said I would bring my own. So the Brioche class, each class had a different price, but the Brioche class was $35 in addition to my registration cost. That class got me, like I said, 2 skeins of Brenda and Heather yarns, or BA yarns for short. This one is the colorway Tan on their Octoply base, which is 100% superwash merino, and is a DK weight. I'd argue sport, but just because it's 275 yards to 100 grams. And just as a reference, the retail on the solid, $26. Retail on this gradient, same base, but dyed in this very pretty green to purple gradient, retails for $34. My class cost me $35. So it's fantastic deal, fantastic pricing. Cannot be upset about this. So I got the 2 skeins, the pattern, which was written for this class. So it is not published yet, but I do believe that's the plan. But I can show this here. It's not super fantastic for coloring, but without further ado, it's a cute little scarf. And this is how far I got in class. The Brioche class was for learning increases and decreases, which I had never done before, 2-color flat. So that was my morning class. And so 2 skeins of yarn, $35 on top of my registration fee. So again, you don't have to take classes with this retreat, which is awesome. Or you could have taken a different class like the Crochet or Darn It or Perfect Fit, and those classes would have had a different price point because of the yarn included, pattern included or not, what have you. In the afternoon, our options were cabled pillows, double knitting, Selbu mittens, and crochet beyond the basics. I took the double knitting. I had to think about that for a second. And my cost for the double knitting class was $18. Again, I chose to supply my own needles. $18 got me a pattern, which I won't show because it shows too much information. And then these 100 gram skein, and then two, I'm gonna guess 50 grams. I didn't weigh these and there's no tag, but 100 gram and then 250s. These are worsted weight to make. And I think they did 2 colors just for some variety. And I actually finished my project in class. It's a little sheepy coaster. So the instructor did supply ahead of class instructional videos for how to cast on with 2 colors. So that way we could kind of have that knowledge going in to save on class time. And all of those videos are available to us afterwards. She also has uploaded how to do the bind off. And there, I think she said there's 2 ways either way, like either 2 cast on options, 2 bind off options. But we made a sheep. So cute. The actual class pattern was she had written it to be much larger, and it was a full sheep with like a border on top and a border on bottom. But prior to, like, between giving that to the event organizer and the actual event itself, she came up with 2 smaller charts to give people the option of starting those for the instant gratification or potentially being able to finish in class. I didn't finish in class. I had about 5 rows left, but I got really far in class. And both classes I took were a full 2 hours. So that's the second class I took. And then on Saturday in the evening, they had time for dinner, and then there was a pajama party where you could just go change in your room, get in your PJs. I didn't go change since I was going to be driving home, and I'd already checked out of my room, but there was some games and just the camaraderie of being with your fellow knitters. And then there was a raffle for some goodie bags. So I'm a dodo head and took out some of the goodies from my bag, and they're in the suitcase that's in my bedroom where my husband is sleeping. But non-knitting goodies, we got some popping corn, locally packaged and everything like that, some popcorn salt. Again, this is where I'm going to take a picture so you can see like the additional non-knitting goodies. There was some knitting goodies of some like cable stoppers for like 2 needles to go through, which was cool. And then also, besides the bag, which is like an insulated cooler. How cool is that? And I love that she did not put the year on this bag, because then you can use it any future woolly. And then I feel like this is very on trend. A yarn cozy caddy thing. And this says winter woolly, and this is dated 2025. So that is fun. There's also a fun little hook for you to be able to wear it on your wrist. And then cute little felt sheep with a darning needle in case we needed it while we were there and forgot to pack one. So that was the yarn that came with my classes. Again, I'll have put up a picture of the welcome craft and the non-knitting and the additional goodies that I forgot to take out of my suitcase and don't want to have to record separate bits here. On Sunday, again, I did not stay for Sunday. I checked out Saturday and left. I think I stayed until like 9 o'clock before I drove home. But on Sunday, you again had the catered breakfast, part of the package if you purchased it. Otherwise, you did have to eat breakfast on your own, whether you chose to eat it at the restaurant on site or venture into town. The Brown County Inn is in, like I said, Nashville, Indiana, where there is some really cute shops and some great restaurants available to you. And for those who don't sign up for classes, you can go explore during class time or go back to your room and knit if you're there with a friend, or whatever you want to do during the class times. But the event space is used for classes as well. So you can't really hang out in there if you didn't take those classes that are in those rooms. But they had the catered breakfast, and you could just hang out and knit with everybody, do some last minute shopping at the vendors, and that's your Sunday. And then you got to head home. I did do some shopping. I expected to. So here's where I will show that. So first, it's all in. My purchases are all in here. Oh, is this one last thing from the goodie bag? My name badge. So this says Candy. And then she did ask for everybody's preferred pronouns during registration. You didn't have to give them if you didn't want to, but since I supplied mine are included. A lot of people had them, and some people didn't. Perfectly fine, but it is a magnet, so it didn't have to puncture your knits, and it's generic, so you can use that for anything. So I thought that was cool. Forgot that was part of the goodie bag. How she differentiated the goodie bags between people too. This bag is, I left the tag on so I could share, is from Wibbly Wobbly Crafts, Jessica Condra. I'll share that there. She does have a Facebook and an email address. She does memory animals, custom orders. This bag apparently was the goodie bag. The style was the goodie bag for last year's Woolly. So she had some extras or made some more for this Woolly because they were so popular. But it's a like bucket bag that has a cinch top, and it has 1, 2, 3, 4 pockets on the outside that are nice and deep. And then the inside, this is where I have to get out my goodies and not let you see it. Okay. The inside has an additional 4 pockets. Let's see, you're not going to be able to see this, but it does have an additional 4 pockets along the inside, but otherwise it's just an empty bucket, which with some handles, you could totally knit from this while walking if you wanted a project that's large enough for this bag. But it's what I used to store all my acquisitions. So very, very fun, very cute bag. So that was one of my purchases. And then she had a whole booth. The other vendors were Rebel Pearl, who I did not make a purchase from, but they have a shop. I think it's in Bloomington, Indiana. They were there. They had lots of stuff that struck my fancy, but I was trying to stick to a budget, so I did not make a purchase from them, but I did end up purchasing from the other booths that were there. The next one was the Clay Pearl, which is a yarn shop in Nashville, Indiana, Brown County, where the event is. And I just got some fun little trinkety goodies, notion, if you will. I got a yarn sweater, some fun yarn cakes and things. I like these. It helps keep your cakes like this from completely caving in on themselves because the yarn kind of sticks to the outside, really the inside of this, but it's the outside yarn sticks to the inside of this, and it just helps keep it from getting a tangled mess there at the end. So I'm glad to have another one of those. And then I also got these ridiculously adorable needle stoppers. So I got some latte cups, and these I'm gonna have to hide from my daughter, but I had to get them because it's Hey Hey from Moana. So that was from my little purchases from the Clay Pearl. Next shop, next stall is Brenda and Heather Yarns. I got a skein of their Humbug, B-A-H Humbug, a play on their name, in their Tough Toes base, which is 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon. It is approximately 105 grams to get 400 yards, a 4-ply fingering weight, and it stripes. So that is how that's going to look, which is ridiculously fun. I'm hoping to become a sock knitter, so we'll see what happens. But that's why I got this. I also went ahead and grabbed 2 minis. This one is, and their minis are 25 grams versus the standard 20. So it's 25 grams of 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon. which is slightly different than the main skein, but that's okay. And this is in Kentucky Bluegrass, and the greens are basically spot on. But yeah, 115 yards to the 25 grams, so that's nice. And then I also got their Elfin Red, which is getting a little blown out on camera looking at this, but that's okay. So I figured, even though this stripes, this way I don't have to worry about where like the heel, cuff, and toe like start and whatever. I can choose to use these for those things or run with it, and I just have some plain solids. Either way, no questions there. Other thing I got from their booth, which I'm gonna open, was they had these left over from their advents that they did, which I follow them on Instagram and Facebook or where all of the places, but I missed it, or I probably would have bought them. But they're little kitty cat stitch markers. We got an orange kitty, black kitty, a paw print, and they were Christmas advent, so there is a kitty cat in the Christmas tree. Hopefully these are showing up okay. We got a gray and white kitty and a calico kitty. So I thought those were super cute and snagged those up. So that was my purchase from Brenda and Heather. And then last but not least, this doesn't do this yarn dyer justice. I'm just gonna throw that out there. Oink Pigments was the other booth that I made a purchase from. They have over, like, I think their website says over 200 different colorways, and they are all gorgeous. They have some great variegateds, beautiful tonals. They brought everything from fingering to bulky with them, but they were the only ones there with silk and linen blends. And I'm on a summer yarn kick. I don't know why. So I got their fingering weight, 65% silk, 35% linen. This is their coven base, like a witch coven. And the colorway is bittersweet. So I got 3 skeins. I should only need 2 for a Moonset Tea by Ozetta, but I wanted the third one in case I wanted to add length and needed that yardage. And if I don't end up needing the yardage, it's a great tonal that I could stripe in something else, or like color block, or maybe find another pattern that uses fingering weight or DK weight where I can hold it double. But yes, 65% silk, 35% linen. They consider it a light fingering weight, 460 yards to 100 grams. But yes, this is indie dyed yarn, hand dyed in Indianapolis, Indiana. But they also have a dyer, and I think it's a family thing, in California. So, but this yarn was dyed in Indiana. So that is the last I have. Like I said, I'll have to put some pictures in of a couple things. So I didn't get away with not being able to edit this, but that's okay. So that is my Brown County Inn Winter Woolly Knitting Retreat experience for 2025. It was lots of fun. I am going to prioritize attending next year. I've already talked about it with my husband, and it could even be one of those things where he takes off the Friday night, so that way he can kind of self-adjust with the kids to the weekend schedule, so I can attend the whole time and not have to rely on family for covering because he works nights. That was the only reason we needed to get family involved this time. If he was on days, it wouldn't have been a thing, but he's on nights, and he still will be by the time this rolls around next year. So we'll see as it gets closer if that's what I need to ask of him, which, God love my husband. He does a lot for us, and he understands that with him being on nights that a lot's on me when it comes to the kids. So I don't see him minding taking a Friday night off work and getting to have some extra time with the kiddos because of it. So we'll see what happens and how it plays out. The dates for next year have not been announced yet, but when they are, I will try and remember to share that in a podcast. But in the meantime, that's all I have for today. Thank you so much for watching. And if you want, go check out my most recent podcast I uploaded a couple weeks ago. And that's all I've got for you. Thanks, friends. Happy knitting. And I'll talk to you soon.